happy February the 24th. Welcome to our Winston-Salem Transit Authority monthly Board of Directors meeting. I hope each and every one of us are doing well. As always, I need to read the virtual statement about, well, the statement regarding virtual meetings. Pursuant to the policies and procedures adopted by the City Council relative to virtual meetings, it has been determined that it is not feasible for the members of this committee to meet together physically due to the pandemic. All members are participating remotely. Members will vote by a roll call vote. Each member will be recognized by roll call and then state their vote. So to start off the meeting, Tika, if you'd like to do a roll call of the board.
Okay, greetings everyone. Chairman Garcia.
Here.
Vice Chairman Keith King.
Here, present.
Mr. Willie Clark.
Here. Present.
Ms. Janet Lawson Jackson.
Here.
Dr. Fleer. Mr. Philip Osborne. Mr. Osborne.
Present.
And Miss LaTanya Wright.
Here.
I couldn't imagine hating any animal, but a few startling times of hearing that.
All members have been, roll call has been called and all members are present.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And you might note, fellow board members, that Ms. Allendorf is not with us, and just want to let you know that due to personal reasons, unfortunately, Ms. Allendorf had to step off the board, so she will be missed. But she did notify us, and just wanted to let everyone know that if you're wondering why she has not been present, she has turned in her notice due to personal reasons that she will not be able to continue to serve. We appreciated her participation, and certainly the door remains open to things change. So, as always, we have a safety message. Now, you know what? I think about safety message. We talk about the pandemic. We talk about the flu season. Seems like it's always safety messages tend to ride around about something we don't like to talk about. And of course, we probably have had our fill of all that. But I think just in general, just being safe in our environment, around where we're at in our neighborhoods, in our times are getting tough in our communities, where we're at and so forth. I don't think we should be so naive to think that it could not happen to us at any time, day or night. So I think always make sure that we review things with our family and friends, you know, like emergency phone numbers, contact information, things like that. If you haven't done that in a while, you might want to do that. You know, let people know how to get to your phone, because it seems like our livelihood is our lifeline, our umbilical cord there is connected to that phone. But if we can't get to it, so just kind of review yourself going into this new year and how maybe you can make it a little bit easier should you need assistance out there somewhere. So again, I hope it looks like everybody's nice and healthy and doing well, and we're on the other end of this pandemic. And lo and behold, we have what's going on in the world right now. So certainly some tragic times, some serious things going on in our world. We hope that that will subside soon. Now moving on, public comment. Tika or Ms. Woodson, I did not see that in my notes as far as anyone signing up to be present this month.
That is correct. No one called or emailed in response to the advertisement.
Okay, we did have somebody join.
No, we did not. No one asked to join the meeting.
Okay. And as always, fellow board members, if anybody ever confronts you and says, well, I'd like to be present, they certainly can. You see the number that they can dial to get a hold of us here at WSTA. Should they want to join or have a public comment, we certainly are open to that. Just because we're on virtual does not mean that the public cannot join us. So, all right, with that said, well, let's move on to our action items. The first one, of course, as always, is the approval of the January 27th or the previous month's board minutes, which was January 27th. Ms. Woodson is scrolling through there for us. You received them in your packet. Hopefully you had time to look at that. And if you see any edits that need to be made, mistakes, additions, deletions, let's take just a minute or two here to go through these. Or maybe if you made a note on your own, please bring it forth to the board.
When appropriate, I move that they be adopted.
Dr. Flair, thank you very much, sir. We have a motion to approve the minutes from our previous board meeting on January 22nd. Do I have a second?
Keith King, I second.
Thank you, Mr. King. Tika, if you'd like to take a roll call, please.
Okay, Chairman Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman King,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Ms. Lawson Jackson, Ms. Jeanette Lawson Jackson,
Aye.
Dr. Fleer,
Aye.
Mr. Osborne, Mr. Osborne, Mr. Osborne, we're voting for the resolution.
Aye, yes, ma'am.
Ms. LaTanya Wright,
Aye.
all board members have voted.
I believe we have full approval. Thank you very much, fellow board members. Our next resolution is a resolution awarding a contract for retread tire services. I got to think that there's probably going to be a couple of questions about this. This might be for many of the board members, one of the first times you've ever seen this resolution or similar to. Ms. Woodson, if you'd like to speak to this, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Garcia, and a good afternoon again to all board members and attendees. The resolution you have before you this afternoon is for services for WSTA for retread tires. Basically, every so often we have to negotiate contracts with vendors for services at WSTA. This is in reference to our maintenance department. This is a reference.
Fellow board members or everybody on the call, please mute yourself. We've got some background noise going on. Thank you.
Thank you. So as I was stating, this is in reference to our tires. We had to go out for bid for a current contract with for retread tires, and we did so and before I go into the rest of the resolution, I'm going to ask Mr. Ashford, our maintenance director, to give you a brief overview about the retread purposes for WSTA.
The retread purpose is for all the large tires. What we do to save money for tires, the tires that we use when they get worn down, we select a vendor and send them out to retread and reuse those tires for probably 30% of what a new tire would cost. So to extend the life of the tire, normally we can do them twice for a retread after they're new. So we get 3 uses out of the tire, and it saves the system a great deal of money by doing that.
So Thank you, John. And I'm sure he'll entertain any questions that you have for him before, if you need any more clarification before awarding us to this contract with Best Trades. So when we go out for bid, we actually solicit, the city actually advertises that service for us, for Winston, and they advertise the bid for a certain amount of time and give vendors an opportunity to bid prices or their pricing, as well as some other factors surrounded by the bid process by a certain date and time. So out of the request or the call for quotes for retread tires, we received 5 responses, and those are before you here. And out of the responses of the bidders that were responsive to the call, Best Trades was the one that submitted the lowest bid. And therefore, we're coming to you this afternoon to ask that you allow or approve the recommendation to contract with Best Trades for retread tires. And I or John, Mr. Ashford, would entertain any questions. This contract is for 1 year through June 30th, 2023, if the board so approves.
John, I got a couple of questions. One, is it Best Trades, the ones we've used in the past?
Yes, we've used them probably for about 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second of my 3 questions, from a safety, they meet all, I'm sure they've got to meet all safety regulations. As far as, retreading tires 1 and 2 times.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, I said I had a 3rd question. That's true. Oh, how many tires does that cover? That's what my question was. Is that just a overarching quote for no matter whether we take them 5 tires or whether we take them 25 tires?
It's based on a per tire cost, which estimated to be about 140 tires during the year.
Okay.
A little more, a little less, but that's estimated based on what we did in current years.
Okay, so that's on an average of about 40 tires.
140.
140, excuse me. Okay. Those are my questions. Fellow board members, questions?
This is Jack Flair. I have a question about the renewal. Ms. Woodson said it was for 1 year. So does that mean that but then it says in the 3rd whereas that it can be up to 2 additional fiscal years. And I guess that means adjusted by the consumer price index?
Yes, well, what will happen is once before June 30th, we will bring this item back to the board for approval for the year 2 at the price with the consumer price index, whatever that increase is. We'll do the same, we'll repeat this same resolution request prior to June 30th, 2023. So it'll be an annual request to the board. And we've actually, as Mr. Ashford said, we've been using Best Trades for several years, upwards of 15 years, according to Mr. Ashford. We just changed the process to secure a contract for a term. So, and we'll be doing that, to be honest, with several of our contracts, so that we'll have an actual term period and to secure pricing from that perspective. So this is one of many to come, but this will be an annual request moving forward for retread tires.
So does that mean that, let's say in 2023, you would not put it out for bid again? Is that what you're saying?
If the board approves us to contract for the next year, we would not have to put it out for bid again. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Where are they located at, John?
Moxville.
Moxville, okay. Fellow board members, questions, concerns, comments?
Do they do private individual tire?
I don't know what other businesses they do.
You said it was such a good deal. I want to be part of a good deal.
Well, I tell you
Great
what,
question, Dr.
in all honesty, because John, like John said, they've used them or we've used them for 15 years, it shows that they are reliable because we have a really good history with our tires. And so that shows that they're safe and reliable and cost efficient. So all of the above for commercial use. I'm not sure about individual use.
Great question. Great question.
Yes.
Well, if there's no further questions, fellow board members, do we have a motion to approve?
Keith King, I so moved.
Thank you, Dr. King. Do we have a second?
Lawson Jackson, second.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson Jackson. And Tika will take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye on this roll call.
Chairman Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman King,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Ms. Jeanette Lawson Jackson,
Aye.
Dr. Fleer,
Aye.
Mr. Osborne,
Aye.
and Ms. Latanya Wright.
Aye.
All members of the board has voted unanimously.
Thank you, Tika. Okay, well, thank you very much. That concludes the resolution part of our meeting. Now, we shall go back to our agenda and we go down to informational items. Ms. Woodson?
Yes. The first informational item is basically, I just wanted to make the board aware of the what we had. The city of Winston-Salem and Worcester just underwent a had to go through a echo review audit, and basically that's just the electronic clearinghouse operation. Is a electronic way that they secure data for the financial management system, and it tracks that grant recipients processes for finances. And they recently we had to go through this audit for our coronavirus CARES Act funding that we received. So what they did was sent us a request for information. So the city of Winston-Salem and WSTA staff had to work together to provide that information to FTA as to support our drawdowns, how the money were drawn down, what they were used for, to make sure that they were eligible expenses according to the CARES Act of 2020, the 5307 funds that we used. And we are happy to announce that we did receive our final letter. The review is closed and we met all of our obligations, all of the requests. We did have some actions early on after the first review of information. However, we were able to satisfy those requests from the FTA auditors, and that is complete. So I wanted to make sure the board was aware that we've taken care of that.
Great.
And of course, a lot of that funding that we got during the pandemic, and we have spent that down. Am I correct, Ms. Woodson?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay. Certainly was well used and well received.
Yes.
Any questions, fellow board members? Okay, if not, we'll go to our second information item about our operator shortages and a media release.
Yes, this is just a media release that was released last month, and in regards to positive COVID test at WSTA. And I wanted to make sure the board was aware of this. Generally, whenever we have multiple positive cases, we notify the citizens via the media release to make sure that they are aware that we have. I know, as you stated earlier, COVID has been here 2 years. We're hopefully on the downside of it. However, we still have some effects of it. So we do advertise to the public, and Tina Carson Wilkins handles that, and we'll make sure that they know by way of a media release. And this also was on the agenda today just to support and to acknowledge the fact that we are still having driver shortages. And this is one of the reasons as well. On a daily basis, we may have to suspend some of the routes. We know that in September, We suspended 12 of our evening routes due to driver shortage, and we're still in that same status at this time. However, just on a daily basis, depending on the amount of call out due to COVID and other attendance issues, we may have to suspend the route early. In doing so, the timing of the response time and the notification to the public, we would love for it to be more, but we can only do it daily because we're going to run and operate as much of our services as possible. So just want to make sure the board was aware of that in case you are questioning or have some concerns from citizens about how we're operating. I promise you, we're doing the best we can with what we have to work with in these conditions. So every day that we are able to put the service out there that we have, we're happy. But there are days that we may have to suspend, some of Route 100, or depends on the dynamics of that day and how many operators we have, because we also want to take into consideration the safety of the operators that are here and keeping in mind the Department of Labor laws as it relates to working hours. So this is just a summary of our current condition as it relates to our shortages or just positions in general, as well as positive COVID cases.
Certainly, WSTA is not immune to staff shortages and reconfiguring things. We see it in our everyday lives, whether it's a restaurant, a business, cutting back hours, cutting back menu items, whatever the case might be, due to shortfall of staff or equipment or goods. So my one question, Ms. Woodson, for you, I know that we're still somewhat in this, hopefully the tail end of this pandemic. Is there been talk with the city, maybe this is a question for the city, where we would have to, there's a date where we're going to say, okay, we're going to just look and see what we've done. Are we going to revamp? Are we going to go back to everything that was before? Or have we found it to maybe we need to retweak our routes a little bit?
Well, interestingly enough that you bring that up, in our next board meeting, we plan to present some information as far as the study that the HDR has been contracted to perform. As it relates to COVID, our plans are, as soon as we are staffed, we plan on returning that service back to the street as normal. So there's no immediate need or immediate determination to do anything as far as eliminating routes permanently or anything like that. As soon as we hire and are able to maintain the level of service that should be provided, then we will be returning back to that.
Okay. Because I know with a lot of other businesses, they've had that, after retweaking it, they've seen that, like any other business where you tighten up your ship a little bit, and maybe sometimes you might have to do some trimming here and there. So
right.
Okay.
You can definitely identify some efficiencies that may improve your services during times like this. However, we are not at that point. We know we need the service that we actually have temporarily suspended, and we will return it back to the streets as soon as we have enough staffing to do so. However, we are currently and will be continuing to look at our overall system to see if there's any opportunities to make it more efficient.
I'd be interested to hear how our Sunday services are doing.
I'm sure that Ms. Carol will be able to elaborate on that some when she does her presentation. However, she can drill down and bring more information to our next board meeting as well, as it relates to just breaking it down by weekday, Saturday, and Sunday, so that you can get an overview of how those services operate. Yes, we can do that.
Okay. Fellow board members, any comments, questions?
This is Keith King. I do have a question. Informational item. I noticed on Indiana Avenue, there's a garage there with a Trans A van that's been sitting there a year and a half. And I was just wondering what's going on with that. If John can answer that question.
John may be able to answer that. I think that was one of the vehicles that was sold, but he can probably confirm one way or the other.
Yeah, it was sold at auction in Mount Airy, and they brought it back here in Parkland. So it's been sitting there ever since.
Okay, because it looked like a fairly new one. I was just wondering.
Not that new. It had 300,000 miles on
Okay, well, I guess we took good care of it then.
Yeah.
Body of it. That's all. That's the only thing I had a question about.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Okay. Well, next on our informational items, we have the National Transit Driver Appreciation Day announcement.
Yes, and I will actually just speak on that, and I'm going to turn it over to Tina for to elaborate on that as well as her marketing report. But annually, we have started recognizing our drivers on National Driver Appreciation Day. We did so last year, and that day is slated for March the 18th. So this year, I wanted to get ahead of it to make sure the board was aware that we will be celebrating our and thanking our drivers on Friday, March the 18th, by way of box lunches. And the mayor generally does a proclamation and thanking them. So we will be located in our training room on the second floor of the TC of the Transportation Center. And the drivers will just come through and just, we'll show our appreciation by thanking them verbally. We may have some little trinkets for them in their appreciation, grab a lunch, listen to the mayor, give them thanks, and you are definitely more than welcome to attend if you feel safe to do so. Just a way of letting them know that we do appreciate them because they do an essential part for the city, and we appreciate them as well as our other staff that will be appreciated as well on the National Administration Day, but that's further in April. So that I just wanted to make the board aware of that ahead of the time, in just case you wanted to attend. But I will let Tina expound on that more during her report.
And what that's on
Friday, March the 18th.
Would it be possible to send out an invite through an email to the board members, just as a reminder, Ms. Woodson?
Yes, sir. I will definitely do so.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Tina?
Thank you. And as a way of trying to make sure that the employees can get their food when it's nice and fresh, we're going to start serving lunch at 11. And we'll continue until about 4 because we have second shift employees who do come in. We went through a bid process to make sure that we were getting meals from an agency that could take care of our needs. And so we've ordered the meals and they will be here. And so we look forward to making sure our folks have a good time. Ms. Woodson has given permission again, I think as she had mentioned, for our employees to rep their favorite sports team. So they'll be able to wear t-shirts and or jerseys highlighting their favorite sports team. Of course, the remainder of their uniform has to be intact, but it was a good day when we did it for them for the first time. They really loved it. And so we're going to be doing that again. And yes, we do have special treats in store for them on that day. So we would love to have any of the board members who care to join us to do so. So I'll go on and continue with my report if that's okay. I'm sorry. Although I did not put it in the report because I think by the time Ms. Woodson and I did the interview, we had already sent out the board report, but we got a call from WFDD radio station a couple of weeks ago from a gentleman who wanted us to share information about the Safe Bus Company in observance of Black History Month, but also to talk about what the Winston-Salem Transit Authority was doing, what kind of new trends we were participating in, what kind of new things were we looking forward to. And because Ms. Woodson wasn't as familiar with Safe Bus Company as I am, she asked me to participate, and it was very eye-opening, not only for her to learn about what Safe Bus was involved with, but also for me to learn about even some of the new trends that the Transit Authority is headed to. That interview played today on WFDD. As a matter of fact, I had one of the members who serves on the subcommittee for the bus artwork shelter program to contact me about it. And so it was really rewarding to be able to share that information, which, by the way, I did for each of the safety meetings that we held this week. Ms. Woodson wanted our operators to know that our foundation came from a legacy of innovation and service with the owners of the Safe Bus Company. And so it was really great sharing with our employees that they stood on the shoulders of pioneers, transportation pioneers, to get where they are today. And so we were really excited to be able to put that presentation together. I told someone that I can talk about Safe Bus in my dreams because we did 10 meetings. So it was really interesting and a lot of fun. I saw a lot of excitement from some of our coworkers who had no idea that the Safe Bus Company operated in and was born actually in Winston-Salem. So that was really great. The shelter artwork project is moving forward, although I am not sure of the exact locations of each piece of artwork, but I wanted to share with you in the report that I sent to you that at least what some of the designs were. It was just really exciting to see. The ones that I incorporated in the report that I gave to you, the one at the top left features Mr. Simon Atkins, who was the founder of Winston-Salem State University, which was at one time Winston-Salem Teachers College. Also, the one just next to that features, or is more or less celebrates the Bowen Park neighborhood. And so a young lady by the name of Phoebe Pankey, who already has a piece of artwork featured in the bus shelter located at 25th and Cleveland, put these two together. And the subcommittee was so, I guess, excited by her talent that these two will be featured someplace in one of the wards in Winston-Salem. Also, the black and white artwork that features the late Mr. Art Blevins, who was I think he was just a legend in sports here in Winston-Salem, and who eventually had a position with the Winston-Salem Parks and Recreation Department. Mr. Blevins is being honored with artwork, as well as female basketball players that were here in the city. Also, I think her name is Carolina Corona, had artwork that's currently being featured in a shelter up at where the McDonald's is on Renolda Road. She made some submissions and some of them were selected, as well as some photos by Mr. Kevin Gray. Those submissions from him had different pictures of places where R.J. Reynolds buildings or some of the, I guess, facilities that R.J. Reynolds had in operation. And then the very last one that I featured was by an artist by the name of Salem Ortiz. This was exciting and confusing a little because it featured communities on the south side of town. So, you know, it was exciting because this artist was depicting the different communities and different businesses in hopes of having the south side of Winston-Salem recognized, honored, however you want to say it. But we were looking for a shelter and think we found one where this artwork will be featured. So I do believe this is one of the selections that the subcommittee did make. As the report from the with the Weaver fertilizer plant, if you'll go down a little bit, Donna, to go up a little bit, that report, I just wanted to let you know that from time to time when serious things go on in Winston-Salem, our general manager gets a phone call and asks us to participate in some way by providing transportation for groups or for individuals who may need to have a ride to go wherever. Unfortunately, for the 6,500 people who lived within a mile of this very serious and potentially catastrophic situation, we were asked to provide transportation for people. So we did. I think Ms. Woodson was there 2 o'clock in the morning trying to make sure that people who wanted to evacuate were able to do so. And we welcome the opportunity to be of service when we are asked to be a part of that. So I just wanted to make you aware that we did participate in some small way by providing transportation for people to be able to be evacuated to the education building. Coming up, as we discussed TDAD, we do want you to know that we're really looking forward to that. I was talking to our operators about it, and I told them that, hey, you know, they're vital to economic mobility. They're vital. And the job that they do is so very important and really necessary for, especially for people who have no transportation. So we really want to go out big for our operators for Transit Driver Appreciation Day. And then finally, our United Way Pledge Day is coming up. The operator shortage has created a few problems for us in that there are fewer people who will be working on the committee. So it's just Takia and myself who make up the United Way committee, but we're really pumped and ready to get going. Last year, we raised over $25,000. This year's presentation for our employees included information on how we can be of service, the 4 major problems identified by the United Way of Forsyth County, which was homelessness, number 1, 3rd grade reading proficiency, number 2, graduation rates that are decreasing, number 3, and finally poverty. And so we shared a video with our employees about that. So as we prepare to kick off, now we're going to have our early pledging starting March 1st. And we're also going to be selling some raffle tickets for our employees to try to raise funds to buy some gift cards. And we're going to be raffling off some WSTA paraphernalia, of which I do have quite a bit. And so we're going to be raffling that off to them as well. So they're really pumped about it, and we're excited. And we're so excited because we already have 2 pledges. And so if you'd like to join us on Pledge Day, we're going to have meal tickets for our employees. We're going to have food trucks there, and we just love. Now, last year, I do believe Mr. Osborne joined us. And so we're looking forward to you being a part of it. So please feel free to come out and join us for our Pledge Day, which is March 25th. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right. Lots happening. Thank you, Tina. Is there any questions from our fellow board members? Yeah. My hat is off to you, Ms. Woodson, and everybody involved. And thank you, Tina, for bringing that up about the assistance at that plant. You know, I think everybody, the fire department, WSTA, the police department, the city, wow, that could have been very catastrophic. And I know that it was written and it was talked about, but as most things go in our world, it just kind of just slides on by. But to think about what could have been, and to think that your reaction to that, yeah, hats off to everybody involved from WSTA on that. Let's see. So now we've got one of our favorite parts of our board meetings. Ms. Carol's going to give us her slide presentation.
I am. Okay, let me share my screen.
We need a drum roll for you, Carol.
All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me switch this. Okay. Get rid of that. Okay, well, first, before I jump into the presentation, Mr. Garcia, I wanted to address your question about Sunday service.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just so happens, I am looking at the data right now of like January 2001 till present, kind of as our new normal, to see what trends, you know, and if I can see anything, and also looking at to see if there's any impact that can be seen yet with the route reductions, you know, that happened in September.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say, I'm not finished with it yet, but I can say that it appears that Sunday service is increasing. ridership is increasing. You know, we didn't have any service reductions on Sunday since we don't have evening service. So yeah, it's early indications are that we are gaining ridership on Sunday. But like I said, I haven't finished, but maybe next month I'll be done and I can share some more of what I've learned.
Well, that's great news. Thank you very much. I can remember when we were, that was a highly debated and talked about subject, Sunday service, some years back. Thank you, Carol. Okay.
All right. Well, moving on to the regular presentation. Just to start out on this, I don't think we had any changes on the service impacts with, you know, an uptick in COVID last month and, you know, all the things that were going on. No one was changing any service. Now, before I jump into this, I do want to say I've been working really hard to try to get the most current month included in this. So you can see it only goes through December, but I've had a lot of difficulty getting everyone to give me the data. Some operations do not release their data until the end of the month. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to just be a month behind on everything. You can see that this is through December, you know, December 31st. And that's the only month I could get all the data for. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. We are going to be a month behind going forward. So having said that, no big changes in December on this chart. Things were holding steady. Some of the folks at the bottom of the chart, like WSTA, I believe, you see a little downward trend there towards December at the end of the year, but nothing big. So looking at the percentage of change for each agency, you can see Research Triangle has the least impact through December. Chapel Hill has the most. And I don't know if you noticed on the previous slide, Chapel Hill is very variable. I mean, when school is in, their ridership is up. When school is out, their ridership is down. So they are like down a whole lot again, almost 75%. And we're kind of in the middle. They're at 41%, and clearly everyone is suffering. You know, everyone's ridership is still down. Hopefully 2022 will bring more ridership. Looking at paratransit, seeing some similar trends as far as nothing's changed. Raleigh is still increasing and everyone else is just kind of holding steady. Raleigh has had a 48% increase in paratransit ridership. And then the other end of the scale, Durham, is at a 52% decrease. So just a few miles down the road, I guess, can make all the difference in the world. We are in the middle of the road here too, with a 33% decrease to date. So now moving on to our regular monthly, just looking at, you know, what's going on with WSTA month to month. January was, as we know, what's going on in January, lots of snow, ice events, COVID, everything was going on, and it shows in the ridership. We had a big drop in ridership in January, the lowest that I've seen since I've been here. You know, that's down a significant amount, down to 92, almost 93,000. And of course, the revenue per passenger hour is down to around 9. Not the lowest we've seen. We were lower in July, but still, you know, much lower. The wheelchair passengers, you know, wheelchairs don't do well in snow and ice. So of course, we saw that go down in January down to 267. And bikes also went down to 415. On-time performance went up amazingly with the snow and everything. I guess less people are on the road. We were up to almost 85%. And moving over to TransAid, same thing there. Trips, passenger trips were down significantly to under 10,000. The trips per hour was down a little bit, 2.5. Wheelchair riders for the past year, it's kind of been all over the place. It was steady for a while, but now it's, with the snowy month, it was down to around 1,500. On-time performance has been on an uptick, which is good to see that going back up again, up to almost 89% in January. Moving over to accidents. January, we had quite a few accidents. We had 7, 4 preventable. It is less from the previous month as far as total accidents, but still it's, we want to see that go down. We had 4 preventable and 3 non-preventable. And in fixed route, 2 of the preventables were there, 1 non-preventable. And we did have the most unfortunate pedestrian strike in fixed route last month. We had 1 preventable accident in TransAid. It's kind of a higher month for TransAid than we're normally see. And weather also may have played a part in some of this. And maintenance also had an accident last month. Maintenance roll calls, down a little bit from the previous month. It's always a good thing when we're doing less roll calls. The number of phone calls. We're into a new year, and the little green dot right there is January of this year, and literally it was almost the exact same number as last year. So you can hardly make out that green dot on top of the blue dot. So we are right where we were the previous year. And there's that little green dot up there. Our the percent of calls that we're answering is up yet again a little bit. We're running out of room. We're almost at 100%. So we did really well in January. And abandoned calls were up a little bit in January, and that's not surprising considering the weather. And we did have some phone issues there for a while, so I'm not surprised to see that jump up a little bit. Any questions?
I find that interesting how our TransAid riders and wheelchair riders have gone down. Of course, that's the pandemic. You wonder if maybe that more telehealth is happening out there and if that will continue.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
Carol, this is Jack Fleer. Once again, I appreciate that presentation. I'm wondering whether you have any ideas about what Raleigh is doing or what the situation is in Raleigh that enables it, and I guess the Research Triangle also, to have what appear to be fairly significant increases in ridership. That's quite unusual in that comparison. And in national data that I have seen, do you have any insights?
I believe it may be attributed to they are doing some type of microtransit.
Oh,
So that's why it's going up gangbusters.
so how do you define microtransit?
Oh gosh, it's a hybrid between fixed route and TransAid. I mean, it's last mile. It depends how they do it, but it would be someone, well, I don't know how best to describe it, but it's like if we did a mini route of, I don't know, just incorporating the schools.
Yeah.
That only ran, a couple hours a day because we knew we were
Right.
going to have peak ridership,
Right.
a few hours a day. It's like just micro getting down to the level of, dealing with specific situations.
So that would probably increase their cost per trip.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It could, for sure. You
Because
can
you'd have fewer
definitely,
people presumably sharing the cost.
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But that's, since they're reporting it through paratransit, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Fellow board members, any other questions? Carol loves questions. Right, Carol?
Absolutely. Love to know you're interested.
Oh, did I hear something? Oh, thought I heard something. Well, Carol, I joined Dr. Flynn in thanking you for your reports. We always enjoy your reports. It really paints a really good picture for us as board members. So thank you for those efforts. And we can see why it's okay. You're a month behind. That's okay. That's okay. At least you're putting out the data that is supplied to you. So, Ms. Woodson, I know we're almost at that hour, and if you'd like, fellow board members, unless otherwise questioned, the operational reports were provided to us. If there are any questions about them right now, certainly let's bring them up here in the couple of minutes that we have. If not, we will leave it to the board members to review and perhaps put this down, Ms. Woodson, at the beginning of the next meeting, should people have any questions in regards to them. But I did not see anything that really jumped out on the reports. Did anybody else? Or Ms. Woodson, is there anything that maybe you might want to highlight?
Well, one of the things I wanted to just highlight as far as the questions were going around as far as the microtransit, a couple of things that happened with Raleigh. Raleigh has a significantly higher budget than we do here in the city of Winston-Salem, which affords them a lot of opportunities that are limited to us because of funding. In addition to that, the microtransit is basically an extension of the services beyond where the fixed route ends. And with microtransit, can actually schedule a ride 2 hours in advance. Unlike the paratransit service where there's no same day service. You have to request your trip at least a day ahead. And then with the fixed route, like I said, that it only goes to a certain perimeter. So the microtransit actually provides opportunities outside of that service area. So a lot of people take advantage of it. It does have access to business communities and other residential areas that are not in the area that a fixed route would be beneficial. So those are some of the things that Raleigh has been able to take a part of, and it has significantly increased their ridership. And we're looking, like I said, with the route studies that we are actually having done with our contract and vendor. Hopefully we'll have some recommendations that'll come out of that study that may offer that opportunity to us as well, because we want to do anything we can to increase our ridership. But we'll keep the board abreast of that, and they will be doing a presentation for the board. They being HDR, the firm that is conducting the study, they will be presenting a presentation to this board for your review as well.
Thank you, Ms. Woodson. Maybe just clarified, are you saying that microtransit is used to extend a route that is normally fixed?
It's actually where the fixed route will not go. It'll service that area. So it just allows to expand the coverage area.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah.
Ms. Woodson, is this something that they're in conjunction with of course, the research triangle and everything? Is this something in conjunction with the businesses and so forth that are trying to get a little bit more environmental friendly and maybe adjusting their work times and so forth so that people can take advantage of?
Well, that I believe is an indication of that, as well as making sure that the businesses that have employees that actually don't drive for whatever reason, whether they're carless or they choose not to drive, but it gives them actual transportation to the business districts. And we've had some of those requests here as well. So we're looking at all the other different opportunities to go beyond where our fixed route service goes.
Okay. Okay. Yes, that would be interesting to hear about. I know there a while back, we had talked about, increasing ridership and how we could maybe collaborate with the businesses downtown and have drop-off points and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that kind of fell by the wayside due to a lot of other things happening, but it would be nice to revisit.
Yes, sir.
Well, fellow board members, if there's no comments in regards to the staff reports, we will lean towards adjournment. But first, I wanted to let you know that our March meeting, unless due to, I know Ms. Woodson will be out of town at that time, but should something come up that Ms. Woodson feels is appropriate to bring before the board, i.e. resolutions, we will contact you in advance, and we might have to have our meeting scheduled not on the same Thursday that we always do. So if not, we will bypass March's meetings. We will let you know either way if we're not going to have one, or if we say, well, wait a minute, there's one or two resolutions that we really need to get on the books. If you would be so kind, so you might be asked to attend a meeting that's not on a regularly scheduled date. So just to let you know about that. And if not, then we'll move on to April. So, all right, Ms. Woodson, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we adjourn?
No, sir. Just thank you all for your constant support. The WSTA staff, we do appreciate everything that you do for us. Thank you. And I hope you all have a good afternoon, evening.
Well, thank you, ma'am. And again, our applause to you and the staff for what you did during that terrible time over there at that plant. Everything that you guys are doing, John, you and your guys, thank you. Tina, as always, a wonderful job. Carol, and all the administrative staff there at WSTA. Fellow board members, please put down those dates. And again, let's send something out to the board on March 18th. If you can, maybe join, or maybe just to drop by and share a little goodwill with the drivers on the 18th. And then I believe March 25th, if I'm not mistaken, what Tina said about the United Way kickoff. If you'd like to attend that, that would be good too. I believe March 18th is on a Friday.
Yes.
Look real quick.
Yes.
Okay. Well, with that said, we are at that hour. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, members of the city, and for everything that you do. Be safe out there, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And until then, we will call this meeting to adjournment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.